Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Channel. Tonight, we'll be exploring the remarkable and intricate realm of biology. This is the study of life itself, from the smallest cell that hums with unseen activity to the great forests and oceans that breathe around us. Life is everywhere, tireless, unfolding in ways both familiar and utterly astonishing. Scientists have discovered that every creature, every plant, every microscopic being carries stories written deep within. A hummingbird's frantic heartbeat, a whale's ancient journey, a tree whispering to its neighbors through roots in the soil. Each is a reminder that life is endlessly creative, endlessly strange, and endlessly connected. If you enjoy these gentle journeys, you're welcome to like and subscribe, or share a thought in the comments below. It helps others find their way here too, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, settle in. Let the noise of the day slip away and allow yourself to be carried by this fascinating journey into life itself. Let's begin. The DNA in your body could stretch to the sun and back many times. Every cell in your body carries a long, elegant molecule called DNA. It is coiled and folded so tightly that it is almost invisible. Yet if you carefully unwound the DNA in just one of your cells, it would stretch to nearly 2 meters in length. Now imagine multiplying that by the trillions of cells that make up your body. Scientists estimate that if you lined up all the DNA within you, it would extend for billions of kilometers, long enough to travel to the sun and back, not once, but many times over. This means that, hidden inside your skin and bone, you carry a thread that could weave across the solar system. DNA is not only vast in length, it is also intricate in design. Within its spiraling ladder are the instructions for building and maintaining everything that makes you who you are. The fingerprints of koalas are nearly indistinguishable from humans. Among all the animals in the world, it might surprise you to know that koalas, the eucalyptus-loving marsupials of Australia, have fingerprints so similar to ours that even trained forensic experts can have trouble telling them apart. Under a microscope, the whorls, arches, and loops of a koala's fingertips closely mimic those found on human hands. This resemblance is purely coincidental, a result of evolutionary pressures shaping the skin ridges for better grip. For koalas, fingerprints help them grasp smooth eucalyptus leaves and branches with precision. For humans, they may have evolved to improve our ability to manipulate objects. On rare occasions, koala prints have even been found at crime scenes in Australia, leading to amusing cautionary notes from police. The fact that such a distant relative shares this trait reminds us that evolution often discovers the same solutions to life's challenges in very different species. Some ants farm fungi to feed their colonies. Leafcutter ants are among nature's most sophisticated farmers. They march in long lines, carrying pieces of freshly cut leaves back to their underground nests. But they are not eating the leaves themselves. Instead, they use them as fertilizer to grow a special kind of fungus, which becomes the colony's primary food source. Generations of ants have cultivated this fungal crop with extraordinary care, tending it, pruning it, and protecting it from pests. Some even secrete antibiotics from their bodies to keep harmful molds away from their fungal gardens. This ancient form of agriculture has been practiced by ants for millions of years, long before humans ever thought to plant crops. Within the dark chambers of their nests, these ants maintain thriving farms that sustain entire colonies numbering in the millions. It is a vivid reminder that farming is not uniquely human, but a strategy that life itself discovered in many forms. Octopus brains are partly distributed in their arms. Octopuses are creatures of deep mystery, with intelligence that rivals some mammals. But unlike us, Their nervous system is not confined to a single brain. Instead, much of their processing power is spread throughout their 8 arms. Each arm is capable of independent action, able to taste, feel, and even make decisions without waiting for approval from the central brain. If an octopus arm is injured or detached, it can still respond to touch and explore its environment for hours afterward. This distributed intelligence makes octopuses astonishing problem solvers. They can open jars, navigate mazes, and even play tricks on scientists. Their arms give them both flexibility and autonomy, allowing them to control their world with an elegance that feels almost alien. In the ocean's dim and shifting landscapes, this strange wiring is not a weakness but a gift, a design perfectly tuned for survival. There are more bacterial cells in your body than human cells. You are not just you are a walking ecosystem. Trillions of bacteria live inside and upon your body, most of them harmless, many of them essential. In fact, the number of bacterial cells you carry outnumbers your human cells, making you a mosaic of species. They thrive in your gut, on your skin, even in the moist airways of your lungs. Far from being invaders, these microbes help digest food, produce vitamins, and keep harmful organisms at bay. The collection of all these tiny companions is called the microbiome, and without it, you would struggle to survive. In a sense, you are less an individual and more a partnership, a living community walking on 2 legs. Every breath, every meal, every moment is shared with these unseen allies, reminding us that life is rarely a solitary endeavor. Plants can send chemical distress signals through their roots. Plants may seem silent, passive beings, but beneath the soil, they are far from mute. Through their roots, many plants release chemical signals when they are under attack, perhaps from insects nibbling their leaves or drought stressing their tissues. These chemical whispers travel through underground fungal networks or dissolve into the surrounding soil, where neighboring plants can detect them. Once alerted, those neighbors may strengthen their own defenses, producing bitter chemicals or thickening their leaves to prepare for the same threat. It is as if plants warn one another, sharing news of danger in a silent language of molecules. Scientists are only beginning to understand the sophistication of these communications. The next time you see a meadow or a forest, imagine the quiet conversations humming beneath the surface, a hidden dialogue that helps the living world endure. Certain jellyfish can revert to a youthful stage, making them biologically immortal. Most animals are bound to a single direction of time: birth, growth, and eventually death. But one species of jellyfish, Teratopsis dornii, seems to have found a remarkable loophole. When faced with stress or injury, it can reverse its life cycle, shrinking back from a mature adult into a youthful polyp. From there, it can grow again, essentially pressing reset on its own life. This cycle can, in theory, be repeated indefinitely, making the jellyfish biologically immortal. Of course, they can still be eaten by predators or destroyed by disease, but if spared, they might continue renewing themselves forever. This ability has fascinated scientists, who wonder whether studying the jellyfish could reveal secrets about aging and regeneration. Drifting quietly in the ocean, this tiny creature embodies a paradox, a fragile body carrying within it the possibility of endless life. Your stomach gets a new lining every few days. Inside your stomach, powerful acids churn and bubble, strong enough to dissolve food, bone, and even metal. To keep itself safe from this corrosive bath, your stomach is lined with a special layer of cells that constantly produce protective mucus. But this defense comes at a cost. The acid eventually damages even the protective cells. To survive, your stomach regenerates its lining every few days, sloughing off old, worn-out cells and replacing them with new ones. Without this rapid renewal, your stomach would digest itself from the inside out. It is a reminder of how fragile yet resilient the body can be, repairing itself continuously and invisibly to keep you alive. Every meal you enjoy is accompanied by this silent miracle of renewal, a ceaseless act of self-preservation that goes unnoticed in the rhythm of everyday life. A hummingbird's heart can beat more than 1,000 times a minute. Hummingbirds are tiny jewels of the air, wings beating so quickly they blur into a shimmer. To sustain this extraordinary energy, their hearts work at a pace that seems almost impossible. At rest, a hummingbird's heart may beat several hundred times each minute. But when in flight, hovering and darting among flowers, it can accelerate to over 1,000 beats per minute. This furious rhythm pumps oxygen-rich blood to their flight muscles, keeping them aloft in defiance of gravity. Yet even with such intensity, hummingbirds must refuel constantly, sipping nectar from countless blossoms each day. At night, to conserve energy, they enter a special state called torpor, slowing their metabolism dramatically, a delicate balance between exhaustion and survival. In their tiny chests, each heartbeat is a whisper of determination, a reminder of the astonishing costs of beauty and flight. The human brain uses enough energy to power a dim light bulb. Though it weighs only a fraction of your body, your brain is an energy-hungry organ. It consumes about 1/5 of everything you eat and drink, channeling that fuel into the silent crackle of neurons firing and wiring together. At any given moment, the brain is producing electrical activity roughly equivalent to the power needed for a small light bulb to glow. Every thought, every memory, every dream flickers within this current. What makes it more remarkable is that this energy fuels not just conscious thought, but countless unconscious processes, regulating breathing, balancing the body, and weaving together sensations without your awareness. You carry within your skull a ceaseless storm of energy, one that quietly illuminates the world of your mind. When you close your eyes, the light does not go out. It continues burning, a steady flame hidden in darkness. Slime molds can solve mazes without a brain. Slime molds are peculiar organisms that blur the line between plant, fungus, and animal. They lack a brain, nerves, or even specialized organs, yet they display a kind of problem-solving ability that seems almost intelligent. In one famous experiment, scientists placed a slime mold at the entrance of a simple maze with food at the far end. Slowly, the mold extended its tendrils through the labyrinth, exploring dead ends, retracting from unhelpful paths, and eventually finding the most efficient route to the food. Astonishingly, when repeated, the slime mold remembered its earlier solution and solved the maze faster. These organisms are also capable of connecting distant food sources with networks that mimic efficient transport systems, sometimes even outperforming human-designed networks. What makes this remarkable is that all of it happens without neurons or conscious thought, just chemical feedback and growth. It suggests that problem-solving can emerge from even the simplest forms of life. Whales have earwax plugs that reveal their entire life history. Just as trees record their years in rings of wood, whales carry the story of their lives in their earwax. Over time, layers of wax accumulate in their ear canals, forming long plugs that grow year after year. Each layer captures traces of the whale's environment, pollutants, hormones, and even stress levels, creating a chronological record of its experiences. Scientists can examine these waxy archives to determine not only the whale's age, but also moments of hardship, such as when it endured famine or exposure to toxins. The wax preserves a timeline of migration patterns, reproductive cycles, and even ocean conditions. For animals that can live for many decades and roam thousands of miles, this wax becomes a kind of biography written in chemistry. It is an intimate glimpse into the secret life of one of Earth's largest and most mysterious travelers. Some fungi create networks larger than entire forests. Beneath your feet, invisible to the casual glance, fungi weave immense underground webs called mycelium. These threads are so fine they resemble delicate lace, but together they can grow to extraordinary scales. The largest living organism ever discovered is not a whale or a towering redwood, but a single fungus in Oregon. It spans more than 2,000 acres of forest, stretching silently underground for centuries, linking trees, plants, and soil together in a living net. Through these threads, trees can trade nutrients, warn each other of pests, and even support weaker neighbors. This wood wide web is one of biology's quiet marvels, a hidden communication system humming beneath the forest floor. When you walk through the woods, you are never truly walking alone. You are treading above a living, interconnected network, older than any building and more vast than most human cities. Tardigrades can survive the vacuum of space. Tardigrades, also known as water bears, are tiny creatures no larger than a grain of dust, yet they are among the toughest forms of life on Earth. They have a strange ability. When conditions become unbearable, when water dries up, or temperatures plunge far below freezing, they curl into a dried-out ball called a tongue. In this state, they can survive extremes that would kill nearly any other organism. Scientists have exposed tardigrades to intense radiation, boiling heat, and even the empty vacuum of outer space. Incredibly, they have been found to endure it all. When conditions improve, they rehydrate, unfold, and begin crawling once again, as though nothing had happened. Their resilience is so extraordinary that some researchers believe tardigrades could even travel between planets, tucked away in icy rocks. They are nature's reminder that life, once sparked, can adapt in ways beyond imagination. Axolotls can regrow entire limbs and parts of their brain. The axolotl, a strange salamander from lakes near Mexico City, possesses one of the most extraordinary regenerative powers in the animal kingdom. If an axolotl loses a limb, it does not scar or simply heal. It grows the entire structure back, complete with bones, muscles, nerves, and even skin. Scientists have watched axolotls regrow tails, spinal cords, and even portions of their brains and hearts. Unlike most animals, they regenerate without leaving scar tissue, restoring full functionality as though the injury never happened. This power has fascinated researchers for decades, inspiring hope that one day, by studying axolotls, humans might unlock new ways to repair or regrow damaged tissues. Beyond their biology, axolotls are also unusual because they remain in a youthful, aquatic form their entire lives, never fully metamorphosing into land-dwelling adults. They are eternal juveniles, carrying within them the promise of healing and renewal. Certain fish can change sex depending on social conditions. In the fluid world of coral reefs, some fish do not live with fixed identities. Species like clownfish and wrasses can change sex depending on the balance of their social group. If a dominant female clownfish dies, the largest male will transform into a female, taking her place and ensuring the group continues to reproduce. This transformation is not superficial. It involves a complete restructuring of reproductive organs, hormonal changes, and shifts in behavior. The process can happen in a matter of days to weeks, a remarkable feat of biological flexibility. For species living in small, tightly knit groups, this ability ensures survival, even when mates are scarce. It challenges our human notions of permanence in biology, showing instead that for many creatures, identity is not fixed but adaptive, a fluid dance with the needs of the community. Electric eels can generate shocks strong enough to knock down a horse. Electric eels, which are actually a type of knifefish, are living power stations. Within their long, slender bodies, they house thousands of specialized cells called electrocytes, which can release electricity in sudden bursts. When an eel discharges all of these cells at once, the result is a shock of up to 600 volts, strong enough to stun large animals and historically said to be capable of knocking down a horse wading through water. These shocks are not only used for defense, but also for hunting. Electric eels can emit rapid pulses that paralyze prey, making them easier to swallow whole. They can even use weaker electric fields like a radar system, sensing the movements of nearby creatures in murky rivers. To witness one is to glimpse an animal that wields electricity as naturally as we breathe, a power both dangerous and mesmerizing. Trees communicate through underground fungal networks. Though they stand silently above ground, trees are connected by hidden highways beneath the soil. Through partnerships with fungi, their roots form vast networks, known as mycorrhizae. These fungal threads link trees together, allowing them to exchange nutrients and even chemical messages. A tree in shade, for example, may receive sugars from a neighbor bathed in sunlight. A sick or insect-attacked tree may release distress chemicals that travel through the network, prompting nearby trees to bolster their own defenses. Some researchers have called older, larger trees mother trees, because they funnel nutrients to saplings struggling in the shadows. This invisible underground system has been described as a forest internet, a living web that allows trees to cooperate rather than merely compete. The next time you walk in the woods, imagine the quiet pulse of communication under your feet, a society of trees bound by threads of fungi. Some deep-sea fish produce their own light. In the crushing darkness of the deep ocean, where sunlight never reaches, some creatures create their own glow. These deep-sea fish use a process called bioluminescence, in which special cells or symbiotic bacteria generate light through chemical reactions. The light may lure prey, attract mates, or confuse predators. Some anglerfish dangle glowing lures from fishy rods on their heads, while others have light organs along their bellies that mimic the faint shimmer of moonlight filtering from above, helping them vanish against the dim surface. For these animals, light is both weapon and camouflage, a tool of survival in a realm where vision is rare. The glows are often blue or green, the colors that travel farthest underwater. Imagine swimming in that silent dark and seeing sudden sparks of living lanterns, tiny stars drifting in the Black Sea. Life, it seems, refuses to surrender even in the deepest night. Your body replaces every red blood cell about every 4 months. Inside your bones, in the quiet chambers of marrow, an endless production line is at work. Each second, your body creates millions of new red blood cells, the tiny discs that ferry oxygen to every corner of your body. These cells are remarkable couriers, yet their lives are fleeting. After about 120 days of circulation, they grow old and fragile. The spleen and liver quietly remove them, recycling their iron and components, while the bone marrow produces replacements. This cycle means that in less than half a year, nearly all of the red blood cells in your body have been completely renewed. Every breath you take relies on this ceaseless rhythm of death and rebirth. You are constantly refreshed at the cellular level, your very blood an ever-changing river flowing within you, never the same from one season to the next. Giraffes have the same number of neck bones as humans. When you see a giraffe towering over the savannah, its impossibly long neck seems like a structure that must require dozens of bones. Yet in reality, giraffes have the exact same number of cervical vertebrae as humans, 7. The difference lies in scale. Each vertebra in a giraffe's neck can be over 10 inches long, stacked one upon another to create the elegant extension we see. To keep blood flowing upward, giraffes also have specialized valves in their circulatory system, preventing fainting when they raise or lower their heads. Their anatomy is a marvel of adaptation, allowing them to browse leaves high in trees that few other animals can reach. The shared number of neck bones between us and them is a quiet reminder that all mammals carry echoes of the same blueprint, reshaped and stretched in wildly different directions by evolution. Some insects can survive complete decapitation for days. Insects live by rules very different from our own. Unlike humans, whose brains are vital for nearly every bodily function, many insects have nervous systems spread throughout their bodies. If an insect loses its head, its body can often continue moving, breathing through tiny holes along its sides, and even walking about for several days. This strange resilience is partly because they do not rely on their mouths for breathing, and their bodies can function without constant brain control. Eventually, they die from lack of food or dehydration, but the fact that they continue living at all is unsettling and fascinating. It highlights how alien insect biology is compared to ours. Their survival mechanisms are so efficient and decentralized that even decapitation is not immediately fatal. To us, it feels like a horror story, but to insects, it is just another example of their durable design. The pistol shrimp snaps its claw fast enough to create a tiny explosion. The pistol shrimp, also called the snapping shrimp, wields one of the most unusual weapons in the animal kingdom. Its oversized claw can snap shut with such astonishing speed that it shoots out a bubble moving faster than the speed of sound in water. When the bubble collapses, it produces a shockwave strong enough to stun or kill small prey. For a fraction of a moment, the collapsing bubble even creates temperatures nearly as hot as the surface of the sun. This violent little burst also generates a flash of light, invisible to the eye, but measurable with instruments. To other creatures, it must feel like an underwater explosion, all from a creature only a few centimeters long. The pistol shrimp is proof that size is no limit to power. Sometimes the smallest animals carry weapons that rival the forces of nature itself. There are viruses that infect only other viruses. When we think of viruses, we usually picture them infecting animals, plants, or bacteria. But there are even stranger ones, virophages. These are viruses that parasitize other viruses. They cannot reproduce on their own, but when a giant virus infects a cell, the virophage hijacks the process, using the giant virus's machinery to make copies of itself instead. In doing so, it weakens the larger virus, sometimes protecting the host organism. It is an almost parasitic relationship layered inside another parasite, a virus within a virus. This discovery has reshaped how scientists think about the complexity of microscopic life. Far from being simple or predictable, the viral world is a tangled web of interactions, rivalries, and dependencies. Even at the smallest scale, nature is full of surprising hierarchies, with predators and prey existing in forms invisible to the naked eye. Spider silk is stronger than steel by weight. A spider's web may look delicate, but the threads it is made from are some of the strongest materials known. Ounce for ounce, spider silk is tougher than steel and more elastic than many modern fibers. A strand as thick as a pencil could theoretically stop a jet in flight, though in reality such a structure would never exist. Spiders produce different types of silk for different tasks. Sticky silk for trapping prey, smooth silk for building frames, and even silk strong enough to suspend their entire bodies. Scientists have long tried to replicate spider silk in laboratories, hoping to create materials for medical sutures, bulletproof clothing, and lightweight construction. The mystery of how such a small creature spins such powerful fibers continues to inspire. Each shimmering web in the morning dew is not just beautiful, but an engineering marvel spun from a spider's body. Coral reefs are built by tiny polyps no larger than a pinhead. When you look at a coral reef, with its vast structures and dazzling colors, it is easy to think of it as stone. But reefs are alive, built by countless tiny animals called polyps. Each polyp is no bigger than the head of a pin, yet together they secrete calcium carbonate skeletons that form massive colonies. Over centuries, these colonies grow into reefs, but stretch for miles, supporting an astonishing diversity of life. Coral reefs are sometimes called the rainforests of the sea because they shelter a quarter of all marine species, despite covering less than 1% of the ocean floor. The structures they build are both fragile and enduring, shaped by delicate mouths and soft tentacles. These minuscule architects remind us that even the smallest creatures can reshape entire ecosystems, constructing living fortresses that protect and sustain ocean worlds. Some frogs can freeze solid and thaw back to life. In the cold forests of North America, the wood frog has evolved an extraordinary survival strategy. When winter arrives, it allows itself to freeze almost completely. Its heart stops beating, its lungs cease to move, and its body becomes rigid with ice. To avoid damage, the frog's cells flood with glucose, acting as a natural antifreeze. In this frozen state, the frog appears lifeless, buried beneath snow and leaves. But when spring warmth returns, the ice melts, the heart begins to beat again, and the frog hops away as if nothing had happened. Few animals can endure such a complete suspension of life. This adaptation allows wood frogs to survive harsh climates where other amphibians could not. It is a biological miracle, a creature pressing pause on life itself, waiting patiently for the thaw that will wake it again. The Greenland shark can live for centuries. The Greenland shark, a massive and slow-moving inhabitant of Arctic waters, holds the record as the longest-lived vertebrate known to science. By examining proteins in its eyes, scientists estimate that these sharks can live for more than 400 years, with some individuals born before the age of Shakespeare still alive today. They grow at an incredibly slow rate, adding only a centimeter or two each year, and do not reach maturity until they are more than a century old. This long lifespan remains a mystery, though it may be linked to the frigid, stable waters of their habitat and their slow metabolism. For most of human history, these ancient creatures have been quietly gliding beneath the ice, unaware of the rise and fall of empires above. The Greenland shark is a living time capsule, carrying centuries of ocean memory within its body. Human fingerprints are unique even among identical twins. Every human carries a set of fingerprints that are unlike anyone else's in the world. Even identical twins who share nearly the same DNA develop fingerprint patterns that are entirely distinct. These swirls, loops, and arches form in the womb as a result of genetic guidance combined with random physical pressures, like the way fingers press against the amniotic sac. Once established, fingerprints never change throughout life, making them one of the most reliable markers of individuality. Forensic scientists have relied on them for over a century to identify people, but beyond their use in crime solving, fingerprints reveal a deeper truth. Even when biology gives us near copies, smallest details still diverge. Every person is a one-time combination of chance and design, etched permanently into their skin before birth. They are tiny signatures of uniqueness, carried on our hands. Birds can see ultraviolet light that humans cannot. Human eyes are limited to a spectrum of colors from red to violet, but birds have an extra type of photoreceptor that allows them to perceive ultraviolet light. To them, the world is alive with hues and patterns we cannot imagine. Feathers that look plain to us may glow with hidden ultraviolet markings, helping birds recognize one another, attract mates, or even camouflage against predators with a kind of invisible paint. Flowers, too, often display ultraviolet patterns guiding birds and insects toward their nectar. What is invisible to us is a map of survival to them. By stepping into their vision, scientists with special cameras have discovered a world overlaid with secret signals. Birds live in a richer, more colorful universe than we do, their skies and forests filled with hues that remain forever beyond our own sight. A blue whale's heart is the size of a small car. The blue whale is Earth's largest animal, a living leviathan that dwarfs even the greatest dinosaurs. Within its chest beats a heart so immense it is the size of a small car and weighs nearly as much as an adult horse. With each slow, thunderous beat, the heart pumps gallons of blood through a body that can stretch over 100 feet long. Amazingly, despite its size, the heart beats only a handful of times per minute when the whale dives, conserving energy as it glides through the deep. To imagine this organ is to picture life on a scale far beyond our own. While our hearts tick with quick, constant rhythm, the whale's is a deep drumbeat resonating through the oceans, steady and powerful. It is the engine of a creature so vast that it humbles every measure of scale we know. Seahorses are among the only species where males give birth. In the gentle, swaying meadows of seagrass, seahorses live lives unlike almost any other creatures. They are famous not just for their curved necks and delicate fins, but for a role reversal that seems to belong more to myth than to reality. In seahorses, it is the males who carry the babies. The female deposits her eggs into a special brood pouch on the male's abdomen, where he fertilizes them and provides oxygen and nutrients as they grow. This pouch functions like a miniature womb, adjusting its chemistry to match the needs of developing embryos. When the time comes, the male undergoes muscular contractions and gives birth to dozens, sometimes hundreds, of tiny seahorses. This remarkable system ensures that both parents play vital roles in reproduction, doubling the species' chances of survival. In the still waters where seahorses hide, fathers are the ones who carry the miracle of new life. The cheetah's acceleration rivals that of a sports car. Cheetahs are the sprinters of the savannah, designed for speed in every bone and muscle. While their top speed of around 70 miles per hour is often celebrated, their true mastery lies in acceleration. A cheetah can reach highway speeds in just a few seconds, rivaling the performance of some of the world's fastest sports cars. Their long, flexible spines act like springs, stretching and coiling with each stride, while oversized nasal passages flood their lungs with oxygen. Their claws, unlike other cats, remain semi-retractable, providing traction like cleats on grass. Yet this dazzling performance is short-lived. Within less than a minute, the cheetah's body overheats, forcing it to stop and rest. These explosive bursts of speed are finely tuned weapons of survival, allowing the cheetah to catch agile prey like gazelles. On the African plains, the sight of a cheetah accelerating is nature's own vision of raw velocity. Some plants trap and digest insects for nutrients. In nutrient-poor soils where roots cannot easily extract what they need, some plants have evolved a striking solution. They hunt. Carnivorous plants such as pitcher plants, sundews, and Venus flytraps lure insects with sweet scents, bright colors, or sticky surfaces. Once the unsuspecting prey lands, the plant's trap springs shut or pulls the insect into a pool of digestive fluid. Slowly, enzymes break down the insect's soft tissues, releasing valuable nitrogen and minerals that the plant then absorbs. This bizarre strategy allows these plants to thrive in environments where most others would starve. The sight of a leaf turning into a stomach is a reminder of life's endless creativity, blurring the line between animal and plant. what seems passive and still hides a ruthless edge, proving that survival can take forms stranger than fiction in the living world. Your bones are constantly being broken down and rebuilt. The skeleton may feel like a fixed frame, but in truth, it is alive with constant change. Every day, specialized cells called osteoclasts break down old bone tissue, while others, called osteoblasts, build new bone in its place. This balance keeps your bones strong, flexible, and capable of repairing damage. Over the course of about a decade, nearly your entire skeleton is renewed. This process responds to your life. Bones remodel to grow stronger under stress, such as when you exercise, and they may weaken when unused. Even tiny fractures are often silently repaired before you ever notice them. Your bones are not rigid monuments, but dynamic tissues, reshaping themselves in response to the world you live in. To stand, walk, and move is to carry a structure in constant renewal, a quiet construction project that lasts a lifetime. Naked mole rats feel no pain from acid. Beneath the arid soils of East Africa, naked mole rats tunnel in colonies that resemble insect hives more than mammalian societies. Strange in many ways, these hairless rodents also have unusual biology. They are nearly immune to certain kinds of pain, especially from acid and inflammation. When exposed to acidic conditions that would cause burning pain in other mammals, naked mole rats show little to no reaction. Scientists discovered that their nerve cells are wired differently, lacking the pathways that normally transmit this sensation. This adaptation may have evolved because the air in their crowded tunnels is often high in carbon dioxide, which forms acid when dissolved in body tissues. By ignoring pain signals that would otherwise overwhelm them, naked mole rats can thrive underground. Their resilience has made them a focus of medical research, with scientists hoping to uncover new ways to manage chronic pain in humans. Butterflies taste with their feet. Delicate and colorful, butterflies float through gardens as symbols of beauty, but their senses reveal a more practical design. On their legs are tiny sensors that act as taste receptors, allowing them to sample surfaces simply by landing. When a butterfly rests on a leaf, it can instantly detect whether the plant is suitable for laying eggs. The chemicals it senses tell it whether the leaf will nourish its caterpillars when they hatch. Adult butterflies also use these receptors to find nectar-rich flowers. This peculiar adaptation saves time and energy, giving them a way to test food sources without biting or sampling in the way animals do. Imagine being able to taste with every step you take. For butterflies, each landing is both exploration and decision, helping them survive in a world full of fleeting opportunities. Some lizards can shoot blood from their eyes as a defense. In the deserts of North America lives the horned lizard, a small reptile with one of the strangest defense mechanisms in nature. When threatened, it can squirt jets of blood from tiny vessels near its eyes. The blood can shoot several feet, startling predators and even confusing them with its sudden, vivid display. In some cases, the blood contains chemicals that taste unpleasant to would-be attackers like coyotes, discouraging them from taking a bite. This adaptation is used only in dire situations, when fleeing or blending into the desert sand will not suffice. Watching a horned lizard perform this defense is both shocking and remarkable, a reminder that survival often comes through the most unexpected strategies. In the harsh desert, every trick matters, and even something as dramatic as bleeding from the eyes becomes a tool of survival. The human eye can distinguish millions of colors. Though our eyes may seem simple compared to some animals, they are marvels of sensitivity. Inside each eye, millions of light-detecting cells called cones respond to red, green, and blue wavelengths. Together, they allow the human brain to perceive an astonishing range of colors, scientists estimate in the millions. Subtle variations, like the difference between two shades of green in a forest, are readily noticed. Some people with a condition called tetrachromacy may even see far more, perceiving colors invisible to the rest of us. Color perception is not just beauty, it has been vital for survival, helping humans identify ripe fruits, healthy plants, or even subtle emotional cues in other faces. The world we see is painted with hues beyond easy comprehension, a living spectrum that surrounds us constantly, woven into every sunrise, flower, and flicker of flame. Certain bacteria can eat plastic. In a world drowning in synthetic waste, nature has offered a surprising ally: plastic-eating bacteria. In recent years, scientists discovered strains of bacteria capable of breaking down polyethylene terephthalate, a common plastic used in bottles and packaging. These microbes secrete enzymes that chop the long plastic chains into smaller pieces, which the bacteria then digest as food. While their work is slow compared to industrial needs, the discovery opens the door to biotechnological solutions for pollution. Researchers are now exploring ways to enhance these enzymes, turning them into powerful tools for recycling. The idea that tiny, invisible organisms might help solve one of humanity's biggest environmental challenges is both humbling and hopeful. What humans made to last forever may, in the end, be broken down by life itself. Starfish can regenerate entire arms. Starfish, with their five-pointed symmetry, carry an extraordinary gift: the ability to regrow what is lost. If a starfish loses one of its arms to a predator, it can slowly regenerate the missing limb, rebuilding the complex tissues of muscles, nerves, and skin. Some species can even regenerate a whole new starfish from a single severed arm, provided part of the central disc remains. This regenerative power comes from stem cells that remain active throughout their lives, ready to rebuild as needed. While the process takes months to years, it ensures survival in an environment where injury is common. The calm, steady patience of this repair reminds us that life has many strategies for resilience. In the quiet tide pools where they live, starfish acquired symbols of renewal, embodying nature's ability to begin again after loss. The human genome contains traces of ancient viruses. Buried within our DNA are fragments of genetic code that do not belong to us alone. Over millions of years, viruses have invaded human ancestors, inserting their genetic material into reproductive cells. Some of these viral sequences became permanent passengers, passed down generation after generation. Today, scientists estimate that about 8% of the human genome comes from ancient viruses. Most of these fragments are broken and inactive, but some have been repurposed by evolution, aiding in functions such as immune responses or even the development of the placenta. We are, in a very real sense, part virus ourselves, carrying the echoes of infections from deep time. Each person's DNA is not just a blueprint of humanity, but also a record of ancient battles where viruses left their mark and, in some cases, became part of who we are. Some fungi turn ants into zombies. Deep in tropical forests, a parasitic fungus called Ophiocordyceps wages a chilling campaign. When its spores land on an ant, they infiltrate the insect's body and slowly take control. The fungus releases chemicals that hijack the ant's nervous system, compelling it to leave its colony and climb to a precise height on vegetation. There, the ant clamps down, unable to release, while the fungus grows inside it. Eventually, a stalk erupts from the ant's head, releasing spores to infect others below. To outside observers, it looks as though the fungus has turned the ant into a zombie, forcing it to sacrifice itself for the parasite's spread. This macabre strategy has fascinated scientists and storytellers alike, a reminder that control and free will are not as straightforward as they seem in the natural world. Dolphins call each other by unique names. Dolphins live in complex societies where communication is vital. Among their many whistles and clicks, researchers have discovered something extraordinary. Dolphins use signature whistles that function like names. Each dolphin develops a unique call early in life, a sound that identifies them to others. These whistles are used to maintain contact in murky waters, reunite after separation, or signal attention. Remarkably, dolphins can learn and repeat the names of others, calling out to specific individuals even when they are far apart. This discovery suggests not only intelligence, but also a sense of individuality within dolphin pods. They are not just responding to sounds, they are addressing one another, acknowledging identity in a way that echoes human names. In the rolling waves where they swim, dolphins speak a language of recognition, carrying personal identities across the ocean's depths. Venus flytraps count the touches on their leaves. The Venus flytrap is one of the most iconic carnivorous plants, with its hinged leaves snapping shut on unsuspecting prey. But it does not act blindly. Each trap is lined with sensitive hairs that act like switches. One touch will not close the trap. The plant waits. If a second touch occurs within about 20 seconds, the trap slams shut, ensuring that the movement came from real prey rather than a stray raindrop or breeze. Once closed, the flytrap continues counting. Additional touches from the struggling insect trigger the release of digestive enzymes, breaking the prey down into nutrients. This ability to count and respond makes the Venus flytrap feel almost animal-like in its awareness. It is a plant with patience and calculation, showing that intelligence can take forms far removed from brains or nerves. The human gut hosts trillions of microbes. Within your digestive system lives an entire ecosystem, a bustling community of bacteria, fungi, and other microbes known as the gut microbiome. Numbering in the trillions, these organisms outnumber your body's human cells and perform tasks essential to your survival. They help digest complex foods, synthesize vitamins, train your immune system, and even influence mood and brain function through chemical signals. Scientists are discovering that the health of this microbial population can affect everything from metabolism to mental well-being. Each person carries a unique microbiome, shaped by diet, environment, and even birth. In a sense, you are not a single organism, but a collection of many, living together in balance. Your gut is not just a tube of digestion, but a living city, where trillions of microscopic inhabitants work tirelessly to keep you alive and thriving. Kangaroo rats can survive without drinking water. In the scorching deserts of North America, kangaroo rats hop across sand dunes under the moonlight. Despite the dry heat, they rarely, if ever, drink water. Instead, they survive by extracting moisture directly from the seeds they eat. Their kidneys are specially adapted to concentrate urine to extreme levels, conserving nearly every drop of water their bodies hold. They also lose very little through breathing, thanks to nasal passages that cool exhaled air and trap moisture. By living underground during the day, they further protect themselves from the sun's desiccating heat. This suite of adaptations allows them to live in environments where water is nearly absent. To watch a kangaroo rat is to see a creature that has perfected desert survival, carrying within its body a toolkit of quiet miracles that turn dryness into a home. Bioluminescent plankton make waves glow in the ocean. On warm summer nights in certain coastal waters, waves crash with a ghostly blue glow. This magic comes from microscopic plankton called dinoflagellates, which produce light when disturbed. Each time a wave stirs them or a swimmer brushes past, thousands flash at once, creating rippling trails of luminescence. To the human eye, it appears as though the ocean itself is alive with stars. The light is thought to help deter predators, startling them or attracting larger creatures that might eat them instead. For humans, it is a breathtaking sight, turning the shoreline into a dreamscape of glowing water. Bioluminescent bays around the world draw visitors who watch in silence as the sea glitters with living fire. It is a reminder that even the smallest organisms can paint entire landscapes with wonder. Orchids can trick insects into pollinating them. Orchids are masters of deception. Some species have evolved flowers that mimic the appearance and scent of female insects. Males, lured by the illusion, attempt to mate with the flower, brushing against its pollen in the process. Tricked and unsatisfied, they move on, only to repeat the mistake on another orchid, transferring pollen between plants. Other orchids produce fragrances that mimic food sources, growing pollinators that leave carrying pollen dust. These strategies allow orchids to reproduce without offering nectar, conserving their energy while ensuring cross-pollination. The variety of orchid tricks is vast, making them one of the most diverse plant families on Earth. Each bloom is a carefully crafted illusion, a biological sleight of hand performed in slow motion. Orchids show that survival can come not only from strength, but from cunning deception in the natural world. Crocodiles can slow their heartbeats to near zero. Crocodiles are ancient survivors, and one of their secrets lies in their extraordinary control over their bodies. When submerged underwater, a crocodile can slow its heart rate dramatically, sometimes to as little as 2 or 3 beats per minute, and in certain moments, nearly stopping altogether. This allows them to remain hidden beneath the surface for an hour or more, waiting motionless for prey. By conserving oxygen in this way, they can outlast the patience of animals drinking at the water's edge, striking only when the moment is right. This adaptation is also a form of energy efficiency, crucial for creatures that may go weeks without a meal. In the stillness of rivers and swamps, a crocodile's heartbeat becomes a ghostly whisper, almost absent, as if time itself pauses until the ambush comes. The platypus produces venom. The platypus, one of Australia's strangest animals, is already a bundle of contradictions. It lays eggs like a reptile, has a duck-like bill, and nurses its young without nipples. But it carries yet another surprise. The males produce venom. During mating season, sharp spurs on their hind legs can inject a painful toxin strong enough to incapacitate predators or rivals. While not lethal to humans, the venom causes intense pain and swelling that can last for weeks. Scientists studying this venom have found unique proteins that could inspire new medicines, including painkillers. The platypus, often seen as a patchwork of borrowed traits, is in fact a finely tuned survivor with tools all its own. Its venom is a reminder that even gentle-seeming creatures can harbor fierce defenses, hidden beneath their odd and endearing appearance. Bats are the only mammals capable of sustained flight. While flying squirrels and gliding lemurs can leap from trees and float on stretched membranes, only bats are true flyers. Their wings are unique, made not of feathers, but of elongated finger bones covered by thin, flexible skin. This design gives bats incredible maneuverability, allowing them to swoop, dart, and hover with precision. Some species chase insects in complex aerial acrobatics, while others sip nectar from flowers in flight. Bats have colonized nearly every corner of the globe, accounting for about 1/5 of all mammal species. Their ability to fly has shaped their evolution, influencing their diets, their migration, and even their social structures. At night, their silhouettes are reminders that mammals too can claim the skies. Long before humans dreamed of flight, bats had already mastered it, turning night skies into their silent highways. The mantis shrimp can see more colors than humans ever will. The mantis shrimp, a small but powerful marine crustacean, is famous for two things: its lightning-fast strike and its astonishing vision. While humans have 3 types of color-detecting cones in their eyes, mantis shrimp boast up to 16. This means they can detect colors beyond our imagination, including ultraviolet and polarized light. To us, a rainbow is already rich and dazzling, but to a mantis shrimp, it may appear as a vastly more intricate spectrum, filled with hues we cannot even conceive of. Scientists are still trying to understand exactly how mantis shrimp process all this information, but it is thought to play roles in communication, hunting, and navigation. Some species have vivid, almost psychedelic markings that may look even more spectacular in mantis' shrimp vision. To imagine the world through their eyes is to realize that what we see is only a fraction of what reality holds. Human blood makes up about 1/13 of body weight. The liquid river that flows through us is both precious and heavy. In an average adult, blood accounts for roughly 1/13 of body weight, about 5 liters depending on size. This crimson fluid performs countless tasks, carrying oxygen from lungs to tissues, transporting nutrients from food, ferrying hormones that signal change, and collecting waste products for disposal. It is also the front line of defense, filled with immune cells that patrol for invaders. Blood is endlessly recycled, with new cells born in bone marrow and old ones removed by the spleen and liver. Its constant circulation is what keeps the body alive and balanced. Without it, the body's cells would starve within moments. The ratio of blood to body weight is a quiet mathematical truth, reminding us that inside every person is a hidden ocean, one that renews itself every few months in a cycle of life. Birds can sleep while flying. Migration can mean journeys of thousands of miles, and for some birds, resting along the way is not always possible. Scientists studying species like frigate birds have discovered that they can sleep in flight. Using brain monitoring equipment, researchers found that these birds switch into a form of unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, where one half of the brain rests while the other half stays alert. This allows the bird to keep gliding, adjusting wings and watching for danger even as it sleeps. At times, both halves of the brain may briefly rest together, but only for seconds at a time. The result is a delicate balance between survival and exhaustion, a compromise that allows them to travel across open oceans without landing. While humans require deep, stationary sleep, birds have evolved this strange, drifting slumber, turning the very sky into their bedroom. The bombardier beetle sprays boiling hot chemicals as defense. Among the insects of the world, few are as dramatic in defense as the bombardier beetle. When threatened, it releases a rapid spray of boiling hot, noxious chemicals from special glands near its abdomen. The reaction is explosive, literally. Inside the beetle, 2 separate chambers mix hydrogen peroxide and hydroquinone, which combine with enzymes to create an exothermic reaction. The mixture is ejected in a pulsing jet, accompanied by a popping sound and temperatures close to boiling water. For predators like frogs, lizards, or even curious humans, the result is an unforgettable deterrent. This tiny beetle wields a miniature chemical cannon, an elegant and frightening example of evolution's inventiveness. It shows that even the smallest creatures may carry defenses powerful enough to rival science lab experiments, all contained in a body no bigger than a fingernail. Giant squid eyes are the size of dinner plates. In the deep ocean, where light barely penetrates, giant squid navigate in near-total darkness. To survive, they are equipped with the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, each about the size of a dinner plate, up to a foot across. These massive organs allow them to detect the faintest glimmers of light, such as the bioluminescent flash of prey or the approach of predators like sperm whales. Their pupils are specially adapted to capture these scarce signals, giving them a wide field of vision in the gloom. For centuries, giant squid were the stuff of sailors' legends, rarely glimpsed alive. Today, with modern deep-sea cameras, we know they are real, magnificent creatures, and their eyes are windows into one of nature's most extreme adaptations. Looking into a giant squid's eye is like staring into the abyss itself, a gaze shaped by the eternal night of the ocean. The tongue of a blue whale weighs as much as an elephant. The blue whale is a creature of unimaginable scale, and even its tongue is a marvel of size. Weighing as much as a full-grown elephant, the tongue of a blue whale is used to push vast volumes of water through its baleen plates, filtering out schools of krill. When the whale feeds, it engulfs tons of seawater, then presses its tongue forward to force the water back out, leaving only the tiny shrimp-like creatures behind. The tongue is not only massive but also powerful, a muscular organ capable of moving thousands of gallons of water in a single feeding event. To think of a tongue the size of an elephant is almost beyond comprehension, yet for the blue whale it is just another part of daily life. These giants embody biology on a grand scale, where even the smallest parts of their body are titans of function. The immortal hydra constantly regenerates. The hydra, a tiny freshwater animal related to jellyfish, defies the usual rules of aging. Unlike most creatures, hydras do not seem to grow weaker with time. Instead, they continuously regenerate, replacing old cells with new ones at such a rate that they may never truly grow old. In laboratory conditions, hydras show no increase in mortality with age, suggesting a kind of biological immortality. Their bodies are simple, just a tube with tentacles, but packed with stem cells that endlessly divide and renew. If cut into pieces, a hydra can regrow from the fragments, reconstructing its whole body. This ability makes them a favorite subject of scientists who study regeneration and aging. The hydra is proof that life can take many forms, some of which slip past the limitations we consider inevitable. In ponds and streams, these ageless beings drift quietly, eternal in miniature. Some ants use their own bodies to form living bridges. In the rainforests of South America, army ants march in vast columns, overwhelming anything in their path. When they encounter obstacles such as gaps or streams, they do not stop. Instead, they build bridges from their own bodies. Clinging to one another, they form chains and lattices that stretch across the gap, allowing the rest of the colony to march safely over. As the tide of ants flows across, the bridge constantly reshapes itself, with individuals moving to strengthen weak points or extend the span. When the crossing is complete, the ants disassemble the bridge and rejoin the march. These living structures can adjust dynamically, optimizing for efficiency and minimizing the time spent exposed. It is architecture without blueprints, born from instinct and cooperation. To see an army of ants build a bridge from themselves is to witness collective intelligence at work. Your skin is your body's largest organ. Though we often think of organs as hidden inside us, the largest one of all is visible to everyone: the skin. Covering the entire body, skin makes up about 1/6 of our weight. It acts as a barrier, shielding us from microbes, harmful radiation, and physical injury. It also regulates temperature, keeping us cool through sweat or warm by trapping heat. Beneath its surface, networks of nerves transform touch into sensation, letting us feel textures, warmth, pain, and comfort. Skin constantly renews itself, with millions of cells sloughing off daily, replaced by fresh layers. It even produces vitamin D when exposed to sunlight, linking us directly to the environment. Despite being so familiar, the skin is a marvel of engineering, combining protection, perception, and adaptability. every brush of wind, every ray of sunshine is first experienced through this living shield. Some fish survive being completely frozen. In icy lakes and polar seas, certain fish species endure conditions that would kill most creatures. Some produce special proteins called antifreeze glycoproteins, which bind to forming ice crystals and prevent them from growing. This allows their bodily fluids to remain liquid even below the freezing point of water. Others, like the Antarctic notothonioid fish, can tolerate ice forming in their blood and tissues without suffering lethal damage. In spring, when waters thaw, these fish resume normal life, as though nothing happened. Such adaptations show how flexible life can be, surviving extremes that seem impossible. For humans, freezing is synonymous with death, but for these fish, it is simply another season to endure. They remind us that biology has solutions for nearly every challenge the Earth presents. Polar bears have black skin beneath their fur. At first glance, polar bears appear brilliantly white, blending seamlessly with Arctic ice and snow. But their fur is not truly white. It is made of transparent, hollow hairs that scatter light, creating the illusion of whiteness. Beneath this cloak of camouflage lies black skin, which helps the bear absorb heat from the weak Arctic sun. The combination of transparent fur and dark skin makes them remarkably efficient at staying warm, even in sub-zero temperatures. This adaptation is a perfect balance of camouflage and thermoregulation, allowing polar bears to thrive at the frozen top of the world. It is a striking example of how appearances in nature can hide the true mechanics of survival. The chameleon's tongue can extend longer than its body. Chameleons are masters of disguise, but their hunting technique is equally extraordinary. When prey comes within range, a chameleon shoots out its tongue at blistering speed in less than a fraction of a second. The tongue is powered by elastic tissues that store energy like a spring, releasing it explosively. In some species, the tongue can extend farther than the chameleon's own body length, wrapping around insects with a sticky tip. This mechanism is so powerful that it works even when the reptile is cold, a time when most animals are sluggish. The tongue retracts almost as quickly as it extends, pulling prey straight into the waiting jaws. Hidden in slow-moving camouflage, the chameleon is in fact one of the fastest hunters on the planet, striking with precision in the blink of an eye. Sharks existed before trees. The fossil record tells a story that challenges our sense of time. Sharks appeared over 400 million years ago, long before the first trees grew on land. For hundreds of millions of years, these predators have patrolled Earth's oceans, adapting through mass extinctions and planetary changes. Their bodies are built from cartilage rather than bone, giving them flexibility and buoyancy. Over countless generations, sharks have perfected senses like electroreception, which allows them to detect the faint electrical signals of prey. While species have come and gone, the lineage of sharks has remained resilient, older than forests and even older than mountains we see today. To imagine sharks swimming in primordial seas while Earth's land was still barren is to glimpse the deep history of life. They are living relics, survivors from an ancient world. The human liver can regenerate after damage. Among the organs of the human body, the liver has one of the most astonishing abilities: regeneration. Even if up to 2/3 of it is removed, the remaining tissue can grow back to full size within weeks. This power is vital, since the liver performs hundreds of functions, from filtering toxins to producing bile for digestion. Unlike scar tissue that forms elsewhere in the body, liver cells replicate in a way that restores both structure and function. Ancient healers recognized something unusual about the liver, reflected in myths like the story of Prometheus, whose liver was eaten daily and regrew each night. Today, This regenerative capacity makes liver transplants and surgeries possible. It is one of nature's most generous gifts to the human body, a reminder that even our most complex organs can carry a blueprint for repair. Barnacles have one of the largest organs in the animal kingdom relative to body size. Barnacles, the crustaceans that cement themselves to rocks and ships, might appear unremarkable at first glance. But hidden within their shells lies one of the most extreme adaptations in nature. Relative to their small bodies, barnacles possess one of the largest reproductive organs in the animal kingdom. Because they are fixed in place, unable to move toward mates, barnacles evolved impressively long appendages capable of reaching neighboring individuals. In some species, these organs can extend up to 8 times their body length, ensuring successful reproduction despite their immobility. This adaptation highlights how evolution works around constraints, finding unusual solutions to life's challenges. What seems like a simple, crusty shell on a pier conceals one of the ocean's more surprising extremes. Termites are among Earth's greatest builders. Though tiny and often considered pests, termites are engineers of extraordinary scale. Working together, they build towering mounds that can reach over 30 feet tall, complete with ventilation shafts, temperature regulation, and moisture control. Inside, millions of individuals live in a society with complex roles, from workers and soldiers to a queen who can live for decades. Their mounds are so well designed that human architects study them to learn passive cooling strategies for buildings. Termites also shape ecosystems by recycling wood and plant matter, enriching soils and supporting plant growth. Though small, their collective impact rivals that of much larger animals. To walk past a termite mound is to see a skyscraper of soil, constructed grain by grain, a silent testament to the power of collaboration. Bees can recognize human faces. Bees, often thought of only as busy pollinators, are capable of surprising intelligence. Experiments have shown that bees can learn to recognize and remember human faces using the same kind of pattern recognition that we rely on. By training bees with simple rewards, researchers demonstrated that these insects can distinguish between different photographs of people, remembering the features that make each unique. This ability likely stems from their need to navigate complex flower shapes and landmarks while foraging. For humans, it is astonishing that a brain smaller than a pinhead can accomplish such tasks. It reminds us that intelligence is not measured by size alone, but by efficiency and adaptation. Each bee buzzing through a garden carries not just pollen, but also a mind capable of recognition and memory. Penguins propose with pebbles. In the icy habitats of penguins, courtship takes many charming forms, but perhaps none is as endearing as the pebble gift. Male penguins often search for the smoothest, most perfect stone they can find and present it to a potential mate. If the female accepts, she uses the pebble to help build their shared nest. This ritual is more than symbolic. Nests made of stones keep eggs dry and safe above melting snow and shifting ice. The act of offering a pebble is both practical and tender, cementing bonds between pairs. Watching penguins waddle across ice with carefully chosen stones is to witness a simple gesture of love and partnership, played out in one of the harshest environments on Earth. Some frogs carry their babies in their stomachs. Among the strangest strategies for raising offspring belongs to the gastric brooding frogs of Australia. In these now extinct species, the female swallowed her fertilized eggs, allowing them to develop safely within her stomach. Remarkably, her digestive system shut down during this time, halting acid production to avoid harming the growing tadpoles. Over several weeks, her stomach swelled as her young developed, until finally fully formed froglets emerged from her mouth into the world. This reversal of digestion into nurturing was unlike anything seen elsewhere in the animal kingdom. Though the species disappeared in the 1980s, scientists are studying preserved specimens to learn more about their unique biology. If one day their remarkable abilities could be recreated or applied, it might inspire medical advances in controlling digestion or even in protecting embryos. These frogs stand as proof that evolution can transform even a stomach into a cradle of life. Certain plants release scents only at night. In the quiet hours after sunset, some plants come alive with fragrance. Flowers such as jasmine, evening primrose, and moonflower time their scent release to match the activity of their nocturnal pollinators, moths, and bats. By filling the night air with sweet perfume, they guide these nighttime visitors directly to their blossoms. This adaptation allows the plants to thrive without competing with daytime flowers for bees or butterflies. The chemistry behind these fragrances is intricate, often involving volatile oils released when temperatures cool and humidity rises. For humans, the experience of walking through a moonlit garden filled with these perfumes is enchanting. But for the plants, it is simply survival, a calculated lure for the creatures that ensure reproduction. It is a reminder that the rhythms of life continue even after darkness falls, with invisible conversations of scent carried on the night breeze. Vampire bats share food with hungry colony members. Vampire bats, found in Central and South America, are best known for feeding on blood. Each night they fly out in search of prey, often livestock, from which they drink small amounts without causing lasting harm. Yet these bats are also surprisingly social and generous. If one fails to feed, it risks starvation within just a few nights. To prevent this, successful bats will regurgitate blood meals to share with their hungry companions. This sharing is not random. Bats keep track of who has helped them before and repay the kindness in future nights, creating a system of trust and reciprocity. These exchanges build social bonds that strengthen the colony. What might seem like a sinister creature is, in fact, an animal that survives through cooperation and generosity, revealing that even in the harsh realities of nature, compassion plays a vital role. The pistol shrimp's snap briefly creates temperatures as hot as the sun. The pistol shrimp is small, but it carries one of the most dramatic weapons in the ocean. When it snaps its oversized claw shut, it creates a cavitation bubble that collapses with explosive force. For a brief instant, the collapsing bubble produces a flash of light and temperatures comparable to the surface of the sun. This micro-explosion stuns or even kills nearby prey, allowing the shrimp to capture its meal. The sound is so loud it can be heard by submarines, and colonies of pistol shrimp together can create a noisy background in shallow seas. What makes this feat even more astonishing is that it is all done without fire or heat, but purely through physics, the manipulation of water and pressure. In the pistol shrimp, nature has engineered a tiny living weapon that turns the ocean itself into a source of devastating power. Dragonflies can see almost 360 degrees. Dragonflies are among the most accomplished aerial hunters on Earth, with vision to match their skill. Their compound eyes wrap nearly all the way around their heads, giving them a field of view close to 360 degrees. This means that very little can approach a dragonfly unseen. Within those massive eyes are up to 30,000 individual lenses, each capturing a tiny part of the visual world. Together, they allow dragonflies not only to see in nearly all directions, but also to detect motion with incredible precision. This helps them snatch prey out of the air mid-flight, often with success rates exceeding 90%. To a dragonfly, the world is a constantly shifting mosaic of color and motion, far richer than the human eye can perceive. Their vision, combined with their flight control, makes them living fighter jets of the insect world. Sea cucumbers can eject their organs to escape predators. Sea cucumbers may look like simple, sluggish creatures resting on the ocean floor, but they carry an extraordinary defense mechanism. When threatened, some species expel parts of their internal organs through their rear, tangling and distracting predators with sticky threads or toxic tissues. While it may sound self-destructive, this adaptation allows the sea cucumber to escape, and, astonishingly, the lost organs are regenerated within weeks. This sacrifice strategy demonstrates the creative extremes of survival in the ocean. By literally throwing away parts of themselves, sea cucumbers save their lives and then rebuild what was lost. Watching one in action is both unsettling and awe-inspiring, a vivid reminder that in nature, even the strangest strategies can prove effective. Survival often requires risks, and for sea cucumbers, the gamble of organ ejection is worth the second chance it buys them. The human heart creates enough pressure to squirt blood several feet. Your heart is a fist-sized pump that beats about 100,000 times a day, but its power is easy to underestimate. With every contraction, it generates enough pressure to propel blood through more than 60,000 miles of vessels in your body. In fact, if an artery were cut, the pressure is strong enough to squirt blood several feet. This force is necessary to ensure that oxygen and nutrients reach the tiniest capillaries at the body's extremities. Over a lifetime, the heart will beat billions of times, pushing a volume of blood equivalent to filling multiple Olympic swimming pools. It does all this tirelessly, without pause, from before you are born until your final breath. The heart is more than a symbol of love, it is an unrelenting engine, driving the rhythm of life with quiet but unstoppable strength. Fireflies produce light without heat. On warm summer nights, fireflies transform meadows and forests into enchanted landscapes with their soft, blinking glow. Unlike most forms of light we know, their illumination is produced without heat, a process called bioluminescence. Special cells in their abdomens combine chemicals like luciferin and luciferase with oxygen, creating light nearly 100% efficient, with almost no energy lost as heat. This cool light is used to attract mates, with each species producing its own unique flashing pattern. For humans, their glow inspires wonder, but for fireflies, it is a language of love and recognition. Scientists have long marveled at the efficiency of this light, studying it for applications in medicine, imaging, and sustainable technology. The firefly's tiny lantern is proof that even the smallest creatures can illuminate the darkness with brilliance far beyond our own inventions. Horseshoe crabs have blue blood. Along coastlines, horseshoe crabs scuttle with armored shells and long tails, survivors from a lineage older than dinosaurs. Hidden within them is a remarkable quirk. Their blood is blue, not red. Unlike humans, who rely on iron-based hemoglobin to carry oxygen, horseshoe crabs use copper-based hemocyanin, which turns blue when oxygenated. Their blood also contains special cells that clot instantly when exposed to bacterial toxins, a defense that has been harnessed by humans. For decades, biomedical industries have used horseshoe crab blood to test the safety of vaccines and medical equipment, as its sensitivity to contaminants is unmatched. Each spring, these ancient creatures come ashore to spawn, their blue blood a hidden treasure of evolutionary history. They remind us that life's solutions to survival are varied and ingenious, often stranger than anything we might invent ourselves. Some insects can walk on water thanks to surface tension. Water striders are insects so light and precisely balanced that they can walk across the surface of ponds and streams without sinking. Their legs are covered in microscopic hairs that repel water, trapping tiny air bubbles and preventing them from breaking the surface tension. This adaptation allows them to skate effortlessly across still waters, hunting insects trapped on the surface or escaping predators below. Surface tension itself is a property of water's molecular bonds, creating an invisible skin that resists breaking. While humans struggle against water's density, these insects treat it as a solid ground. Their ability is not magic, but physics applied by evolution, nature turning invisible forces into stepping stones. Watching water striders glide is like seeing gravity itself temporarily suspended, a graceful dance performed upon a liquid stage. Your body contains enough iron to make a small nail. Iron is an essential element in your body, most of it bound within hemoglobin molecules that carry oxygen in red blood cells. While the amounts seem tiny, they add up. The average human carries about 3 to 4 grams of iron, roughly enough to forge a small nail. This quiet metal sustains life, binding oxygen in the lungs and releasing it to tissues in need. Without iron, cells would starve within moments. Every breath you take is made possible by iron atoms, tirelessly binding and unbinding, like workers passing buckets in an endless chain. That something so seemingly mundane could hold the key to life itself is humbling. The iron within you was forged in ancient stars, scattered into space, and eventually woven into your body. Every time you inhale, you are breathing with stardust reshaped into a living system. Some birds navigate using Earth's magnetic field. Migration is one of nature's greatest mysteries, and for many birds, the journey spans thousands of miles across oceans and continents. Scientists have discovered that some species can sense Earth's magnetic field, using it like a compass to guide their flights. This ability, known as magnetoception, may involve special proteins in their eyes or tiny particles of magnetite in their tissues. Experiments show that birds exposed to altered magnetic fields can become disoriented, proving they rely on this invisible map. For them, the world is layered with cues we cannot perceive: stars above, smells on the wind, and magnetic lines beneath. This hidden sense allows them to find the same nesting sites year after year, crossing vast distances with uncanny accuracy. It is a navigation system written not in maps, but in the very forces of the planet. Jellyfish have no brain or heart. Drifting through the oceans for more than 500 million years, jellyfish are among the oldest creatures still alive today. Despite their longevity, they lack 2 organs most animals consider essential: a brain and a heart. Instead, they rely on a decentralized nerve net to coordinate movement and respond to stimuli. Their pulsing motions are powered by simple muscular contractions, and nutrients flow through their bodies by diffusion rather than a circulatory system. Yet despite this simplicity, jellyfish thrive in nearly every ocean, from shallow coasts to deep trenches. Some even glow with bioluminescence, lighting up the dark seas. Their success without complex organs challenges our ideas of what is necessary for survival. The creature without a brain or heart has outlasted countless species with far greater complexity, proving that sometimes simplicity is the ultimate design. Oysters can change sex multiple times in their life. Oysters begin life as males, producing sperm during their earliest years. As they grow larger, many switch to female, producing eggs instead. Remarkably, they can change back again, depending on environmental conditions and the needs of their population. This flexibility allows oyster colonies to maintain a balance between sperm and egg producers, ensuring reproduction continues smoothly. The transformation is controlled by shifts in hormones and energy demands, showing how plastic biology can be. Oysters, seemingly immobile and unremarkable as they cling to rocks, are in fact masters of adaptation. Their ability to shift roles ensures survival in fluctuating conditions, turning gender into a fluid response rather than a fixed identity. In the tidal rhythm of estuaries, Oysters quietly reshape themselves as the needs of life demand. Rattlesnakes can sense heat with special pits. Rattlesnakes hunt in the dark with a secret weapon: heat vision. On their faces are specialized pit organs that detect infrared radiation, allowing them to sense the warmth of prey even in complete darkness. These pits act like natural night vision goggles, mapping the world in temperature contrasts. A mouse moving through grass glows like a beacon in the rattlesnake's perception, guiding its strike with deadly accuracy. This adaptation is so sensitive that rattlesnakes can detect differences as small as a fraction of a degree. Combined with their lightning-fast reflexes, it makes them formidable hunters. For humans, the idea of seeing heat feels like science fiction, but for rattlesnakes, it is an everyday reality, a sense that shapes their world as surely as sight or sound shapes ours. Wood frogs can stop their hearts completely during winter. In the forests of North America, wood frogs endure winter by embracing ice. As temperatures drop, they allow themselves to freeze solid. Their hearts stop beating, their lungs cease breathing, and ice crystals form in their bodies. To survive, they flood their cells with glucose, which acts as antifreeze, protecting delicate structures from damage. For months, they remain in this suspended state, appearing lifeless beneath snow and leaves. Then, when spring warmth returns, their hearts begin to beat again, their bodies thaw, and they hop away as though nothing happened. This natural freeze-thaw cycle is unique among vertebrates and has fascinated scientists seeking to understand how cells can endure such stress. The wood frog is living proof that even death-like stillness can be temporary, a pause in life's rhythm that ends with renewal. Crows can use tools. Crows, members of the intelligent corvid family, are among the few animals known to create and use tools. Observations show them bending twigs into hooks, dropping nuts on roads for cars to crack, or fashioning leaves into probes to extract insects from crevices. In laboratory tests, crows solve multi-step puzzles requiring foresight and planning, rivaling the problem-solving skills of primates. They pass knowledge to their young, ensuring that tool use spreads through generations. Such behavior reveals not just intelligence, but culture, traditions of learned behavior unique to certain crow populations. Watching a crow use a stick to retrieve food is like witnessing a glimpse of our own evolutionary journey reflected in another species. In their sharp eyes and clever movements, we see echoes of invention, proof that creativity is not uniquely human. Some ants explode themselves to defend their colony. In the rainforests of Southeast Asia, certain species of carpenter ants have evolved a grim but effective defense. When threatened, worker ants can rupture glands inside their bodies, releasing sticky, toxic chemicals that immobilize or kill predators. This suicidal act sacrifices the individual but protects the colony as a whole. Scientists call this adaptation autophasis, self-destruction for the greater good. The exploded ant's body becomes both weapon and barricade, blocking intruders with its own remains. It is one of the most extreme examples of altruism in nature, where survival of the community outweighs survival of the self. These ants remind us that life's strategies for persistence often stretch beyond the individual, proving that in some societies, even death is turned into an act of service. Your brain is mostly water. The human brain, seat of thought, memory, and imagination, may feel dense and solid, but it is composed of about 75% water. This high water content is essential for maintaining the delicate balance of ions and electrical activity that allows neurons to communicate. Dehydration, even mild, can impair concentration, mood, and memory, showing just how dependent the brain is on proper hydration. Yet water is not just a filler. It shapes the very architecture of brain tissue, cushioning cells and aiding the transport of nutrients and waste. That our most complex organ is built on such a simple substance highlights the fundamental role of water in life. The brain is often described as an electric organ, but at its core, it is also a watery one, a shimmering ocean of thought contained within the skull. Sponges are animals without organs or nerves. In the still waters of seas and lakes, sponges live attached to rocks, appearing almost like plants. Yet they are animals, among the simplest of all. Unlike most creatures, they have no organs, no brain, no muscles, and no nerves. Instead, their bodies are porous structures through which water flows, carrying food and oxygen. Tiny cells with beating flagella draw water in, capturing particles as small as bacteria. Though primitive in form, sponges have thrived for hundreds of millions of years, predating the rise of complex animals. They filter vast amounts of water daily, acting as cleaners of aquatic ecosystems. Some produce potent chemicals to deter predators, compounds that have inspired medicines for humans. In their quiet, immobile existence, sponges demonstrate that life does not always need complexity to endure. Simplicity itself can be a masterful survival strategy. Certain squids can detach glowing arms to distract predators. In the dark reaches of the ocean, survival often depends on misdirection. Some species of squid have evolved a remarkable trick. When threatened, they can detach one of their arms, leaving it writhing and glowing in the water. The bioluminescent display acts as a decoy, drawing the attention of predators while the squid escapes into the gloom. These arms continue to shimmer and twist for minutes, creating the illusion of a living creature. This adaptation is a twist on the strategy of lizards dropping their tails, but in the deep sea, light becomes an even more effective distraction. For predators drawn to flashes and movement, the glowing limb is irresistible. Meanwhile, the squid vanishes into the dark, safe for another day. It is a reminder that in the depths, where danger lurks unseen, survival can mean sacrificing part of oneself for the sake of the whole. Bacteria deep underground live without sunlight. Far beneath the Earth's surface, in rocks and aquifers miles underground, life exists in complete darkness. These bacteria do not rely on photosynthesis, since sunlight never reaches them. Instead, they survive on chemical energy, feeding on minerals and gases like hydrogen, sulfur, or methane. Some have been found in environments sealed off for millions of years, still persisting in isolated pockets of water. Their slow metabolisms allow them to endure in conditions where resources are scarce, sometimes taking years to divide once. This discovery has expanded our understanding of life's boundaries, proving that organisms can thrive in places once thought sterile. It also raises tantalizing questions about life beyond Earth. If microbes can exist deep underground here, perhaps they might also survive in subsurface oceans on moons like Europa or beneath Martian soil. Life, it seems, requires far less than we once believed. Some plants can mimic the smell of rotting flesh. In the plant kingdom, beauty often hides deception. Species like the corpse flower and a carrion cactus produce enormous blooms with a foul odor eerily similar to decaying meat. This grotesque perfume is not a mistake, but a lure designed to attract flies and beetles that normally feed on carrion. Drawn in by the smell, the insects crawl across the flower, picking up pollen and unwittingly carrying it to the next stinking bloom. The strategy is energy-intensive. Some flowers generate heat to spread the scent farther, but it pays off with reliable pollination. For humans, encountering such a bloom is unforgettable, both for its size and for its overpowering stench. What appears grotesque to us is, for the plant, an ingenious solution, turning the repulsive into survival, proving once again that nature's strategies are as diverse as they are unexpected. Dolphins sleep with half their brain awake. Unlike humans, dolphins cannot fully surrender to sleep because they must come to the surface to breathe. Their solution is unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, shutting down one half of the brain at a time while the other half stays alert. This allows them to rest while still maintaining awareness of their surroundings, watching for predators or keeping track of their pod. Even one eye stays open, connected to the active hemisphere. Dolphins take turns resting each side of the brain, ensuring both halves get downtime over a 24-hour cycle. Mothers with calves often reduce their sleep even further, staying vigilant as they care for their young. This balancing act shows how life adapts to constant demands. Where humans seek stillness to recharge, dolphins drift in partial sleep, swimming and breathing, even as dreams ripple softly through only half their minds. The human nose can detect more than 1 trillion scents. Your sense of smell is far more powerful than most people realize. Within your nose are hundreds of types of receptors, each tuned to respond to specific molecular shapes. Together, they allow the human brain to distinguish subtle differences across a staggering range of odors. Scientists estimate that the human nose is capable of detecting over 1 trillion distinct scents, from the freshness of rain to the faintest trace of smoke. Smell is also intimately tied to memory, with scents capable of instantly transporting us back to childhood moments or long-forgotten experiences. This sensory richness evolved for survival, helping our ancestors locate food, avoid danger, and navigate social bonds. Though often overshadowed by sight and hearing, smell may be one of the most complex senses we carry. Every breath is not just air, but a library of invisible molecules that your body quietly translates into meaning. Birds have hollow bones for flight. To take to the air, birds had to overcome the challenge of weight. One of evolution's solutions was to lighten their skeletons. Bird bones are not solid like ours, but filled with air spaces supported by thin, strong struts. This design reduces weight without sacrificing strength, making flight possible. Hollow bones also connect to the bird's respiratory system, creating a network of air sacs that help with efficient breathing during the high demands of flight. This dual purpose, lightness and oxygen exchange, is part of what allows birds to sustain powerful wing beats for hours at a time. To humans, bones symbolize solidity, but in birds, they are carefully engineered compromises, combining fragility and strength in perfect balance. Every feathered creature soaring above you carries a skeleton that is both delicate and astonishingly resilient, tuned precisely for life in the skies. Cockroaches can live without food for a month. Cockroaches are notorious survivors, able to endure in environments that would kill many other creatures. One of their secrets lies in their frugality. With a slow metabolism and efficient nutrient storage, cockroaches can survive without food for up to a month. They rely on fat reserves, water, and sheer patience. Even when food is available, they are opportunistic, feeding on everything from crumbs to glue to book bindings. This resilience is part of what makes them nearly impossible to eliminate once they infest human homes. Their survival strategies go even further. They can withstand high levels of radiation, endure losing their heads for days, and thrive in darkness. While often despised, cockroaches are in fact marvels of endurance. Creatures that show how life can adapt to almost any hardship. They are reminders that persistence often beats perfection in the game of survival. Salamanders can regenerate spinal cords. Among vertebrates, salamanders are unrivaled in their powers of regeneration. If a limb is lost, they can grow it back, complete with muscles, nerves, and bone. Even more astonishing, They can regenerate parts of their spinal cords and brains. Scientists studying axolotls, a species of salamander, have watched them repair severe injuries that would leave most animals paralyzed. The process involves activating dormant stem cells, which rebuild tissue in a way that restores both structure and function. For humans, whose spinal injuries are often permanent, this ability is deeply inspiring. Researchers hope that by unlocking salamanders' secrets, we may one day enhance our own healing capabilities. In the salamander's quiet, slow movements lies a profound lesson that life, in some forms, carries the power not only to endure wounds, but to erase them almost entirely. Baby kangaroos are born smaller than a jelly bean. Kangaroos, those iconic marsupials of Australia, bring their young into the world in a way very different from humans. A newborn joey is born after only about a month of development, emerging blind, hairless, and smaller than a jelly bean. Despite its fragility, it instinctively crawls into its mother's pouch, where it latches onto a teat and continues to grow for months in safety. Inside the pouch, the joey receives warmth, milk, and protection, completing the development it could not manage inside the womb. As it grows, it begins to peek out, then hop in and out, before eventually leaving the pouch for good. This unique strategy allows kangaroos to reproduce efficiently in harsh environments, where carrying young internally for long periods would be risky. In the joey's tiny, improbable journey lies one of nature's most endearing adaptations. Your stomach acid can dissolve metal. Within your body is a chemical solution powerful enough to corrode metal. Gastric acid, composed primarily of hydrochloric acid, is strong enough to dissolve substances like zinc or iron. Its primary role, of course, is breaking down food into nutrients that the body can absorb, but its potency is astonishing. To protect itself, your stomach secretes a thick layer of mucus that prevents the acid from digesting your own tissues. Even so, the lining must renew itself every few days. Without this defense, your stomach would turn on itself in destructive fury. The fact that such caustic fluid resides peacefully within us is remarkable, a reminder of the delicate balance between destruction and nourishment. Every meal you eat is dissolved by a corrosive force that would melt metal, yet in your body, it becomes the foundation of life. Some deep-sea fish have transparent heads. In the crushing depths of the ocean lives a creature that seems almost unreal, the barrel-eye fish. Its head is transparent, like a dome of glass, revealing its eyes and organs within. This adaptation allows the fish to collect faint light from above while protecting its sensitive retinas. The eyes, shaped like tubes, can rotate within the transparent shield, scanning both upwards and forwards without moving the body. To human eyes, the sight is uncanny, a windowed head glowing faintly in the dark sea. Yet for the barrel-eye, it is survival, a way to detect prey silhouetted against the dim glow of the surface. Such bizarre adaptations remind us how alien Earth's oceans can feel, filled with creatures that challenge our very definitions of what a body should be. Monarch butterflies migrate thousands of miles. Each year, monarch butterflies embark on one of the most astonishing migrations in the animal kingdom. Starting in Canada and the northern United States, they travel thousands of miles south to overwintering sites in central Mexico. No single butterfly completes the journey. Instead, it spans multiple generations. One generation flies part of the way, breeds, and dies, leaving its offspring to continue the journey. Despite never having traveled the route themselves, the new generations somehow know where to go, guided by instinct, the sun, and Earth's magnetic field. By autumn, millions gather in forests, clustering on trees so densely that branches bend under their weight. To walk through such a grove is to step into a living, fluttering storm of orange and black wings. This delicate insect carries a migration story more epic than many of Earth's largest creatures. The heart of a hummingbird can stop during sleep. By day, hummingbirds live at an intensity few creatures can match. Their wings beat up to 80 times a second, and their hearts race at over 1,000 beats per minute. But at night, to conserve energy, they enter a state called torpor, a kind of controlled hibernation. During this time, their body temperature drops dramatically, their metabolism slows, and astonishingly, their heart can pause for seconds at a time. This would be fatal for most animals, but for hummingbirds, it is a survival strategy. By almost shutting themselves down, they conserve enough energy to survive until morning, when they can resume their frantic search for nectar. The contrast between day and night in a hummingbird's life is staggering, from a living blur of speed to a still, suspended jewel waiting for the sunrise. Some beetles can survive complete decapitation. It may sound like a horror story, but some beetles can live for days after losing their heads. This strange resilience is possible because many beetles do not rely on their heads for basic body functions. Their nervous systems are decentralized, and their spiracles, small openings along the body, allow them to breathe without a head. Of course, without a brain, they cannot eat, drink, or respond to complex stimuli, so death eventually follows. Still, the fact that they can survive at all is a testament to the robustness of insect physiology. It highlights the vast differences between how vertebrates and invertebrates are built. Where humans cannot survive even seconds without a head, beetles endure, carrying on in a bizarre half-life state until their systems finally fail. Plants can hear vibrations from caterpillars chewing. Plants may lack ears, but they are not deaf to the world around them. Studies have shown that some plants can detect vibrations, including the specific sound of caterpillars chewing their leaves. When exposed to these vibrations, the plants respond by producing defensive chemicals or strengthening their tissues to deter further attack. This ability allows them to prepare for damage before it becomes severe, a kind of early warning system. Vibrational sensitivity may also help plants respond to wind, rainfall, or the buzzing of pollinators. To humans, plants seem passive, but beneath the surface they are highly attuned to their environments, capable of sensing and reacting in ways we are only beginning to understand. The idea that a leaf can hear the sound of being eaten is both unsettling and awe-inspiring, another sign that plants are far from powerless. Octopuses can change both color and texture. Octopuses are famous for their camouflage, but their abilities go far beyond simple color shifts. Special cells in their skin, called chromatophores, expand and contract to reveal pigments, creating instant patterns and hues. Beneath these are iridophores and leucophores, which reflect and scatter light, adding shimmering effects. Even more remarkable, octopuses can alter the very texture of their skin, raising bumps or smoothing themselves out to mimic rocks, coral, or sand. Combined, these adaptations allow them to vanish into nearly any background in moments. This camouflage is not just defensive. It can also be used to signal other octopuses during mating or conflict. Watching an octopus transform is like witnessing a living magic trick, a body rewriting itself in real time. Few creatures demonstrate so vividly that identity and appearance in nature are fluid, flexible, and endlessly creative. Antarctic icefish have clear blood. In the frigid waters of the Southern Ocean lives a family of fish with blood unlike any other vertebrate. It is completely transparent. Unlike most animals, icefish lack hemoglobin, the protein that carries oxygen and gives blood its red color. Instead, they absorb oxygen directly from the cold, oxygen-rich waters through their skin and plasma. To compensate, their hearts are enormous. pumping blood constantly to keep tissues supplied. This adaptation may seem extreme, but it works in the freezing environment where they live. Scientists are fascinated by icefish, since their unusual biology could reveal insights into circulation and metabolism. Their clear blood is a reminder that even traits we consider universal, like red blood, are not fixed. Life always finds other ways to solve the problem of survival. Certain birds sing in regional dialects. Birdsong may sound uniform to the casual ear, but careful listening reveals variations, regional dialects that differ from place to place. For example, white-crowned sparrows on the west coast of North America sing songs distinct from those of their inland relatives. These dialects are learned, passed from one generation to the next, and can change slowly over time, much like human accents. Dialects can even affect mating, as females may prefer males whose songs match the local language. Scientists use these variations to study how culture spreads in non-human animals, showing that learning and tradition are not unique to people. To walk through a forest and hear birds singing in local dialect is to realize that even the natural world carries its own forms of culture, subtle but deeply meaningful. The axolotl never fully grows up, remaining larval for life. The axolotl, a salamander native to lakes around Mexico City, is a creature of perpetual youth. Unlike most amphibians, which metamorphose into adults, the axolotl retains its larval features throughout life. It keeps its feathery gills, its aquatic lifestyle, and its youthful body, even as it reaches sexual maturity. This condition, called neoteny, allows axolotls to reproduce without ever leaving the water. Beyond their unusual development, axolotls are also masters of regeneration, capable of regrowing limbs, spinal cords, and even parts of their brains. In local mythology, they were linked to gods of transformation and survival, and today they are symbols of resilience and wonder. Scientists study them intensely, hoping to unlock secrets of regeneration that might one day help humans heal more effectively. The axolotl lives as a paradox, forever a child, yet fully an adult. Your skeleton is replaced roughly every 10 years. Though it feels solid and prominent, your skeleton is alive and ever-changing. Specialized cells constantly break down old bone tissue and replace it with new material. Over time, this remodeling process ensures that nearly your entire skeleton is renewed every decade or so. This turnover allows bones to adapt to new stresses, grow stronger with use, and repair small damages before they become dangerous. It also means that the skeleton you carry today is not the same as the one you had 10 years ago. Bones are less monuments than living structures, built and rebuilt in an ongoing cycle. This process connects us to the idea of impermanence. Even the hardest parts of our bodies are not fixed but flowing, part of the continual renewal that defines life. Within you is a framework both ancient and new, rebuilt stone by the body itself. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey through the quiet, intricate world of biology. From the invisible spirals of DNA stretching across the cosmos, to the glowing bodies of creatures in the ocean's midnight depths, from forests whispering beneath the soil, to tiny hearts beating faster than the eye can see tonight, we wandered through the endless shapes that life can take. Biology reminds us that the world is not static, but alive with motion, with growth, with endless cycles of change. Bones dissolve and rebuild. Forests converse in silence. Animals adapt in ways we can scarcely imagine. Wings like stained glass, eyes as wide as dinner plates, bodies that glow, freeze, or regrow anew. And you, too, are part of this story. Your body hums with unseen activity, trillions of cells dividing, repairing, and remembering. Every heartbeat, Every breath, every flicker of thought is a thread in the vast tapestry of life. Even in stillness, even in rest, life continues its ceaseless work within you, carrying you gently forward. The facts we explored tonight may have sparked little moments of wonder, like lanterns in the dark, reminders that the world is stranger, richer, and more extraordinary than it often appears. If you found calm in this quiet journey, or if sleep has already begun to wash over you, know that this, too, is part of the rhythm of biology. Rest and renewal are woven into the fabric of every living thing. If you're still awake and you'd like to continue exploring, you're welcome to join me in the next video, where another adventure into science awaits. And if you're drifting away, then let these final words carry you softly into dreams. Thank you for sharing this time here, under the gentle glow of curiosity. If you enjoyed this journey, you might consider subscribing or leaving a quiet thought in the comments below. It helps more wandering minds find their way here, one sleepy soul at a time. But for now, there is nothing more to do. The day is finished. The questions can wait. The living world will continue its quiet work as you rest. Allow yourself to let go, to drift deeper, and to sink into the calm embrace of sleep. May you dream of forests, oceans, and skies, of life in all its strange and beautiful forms. Good night.